Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for XXx, The Return of Xander Cage. So XXx, The Return of Xander Cage revolves around the story of Vin Diesel, who is a guy that learns about this certain device that a terrorist is using to drop down asteroids from out in space onto Earth. So he has to try to find the device and try to make it so that it is reasonable, either that or destroyed. Really, that's an explanation of the premise, when really this film is about action, objectifying women, and more action, because that is exactly what this franchise is, and that is exactly what this film promised to be. I went into this movie not excited because I thought that maybe it would be even a fun action movie that I could enjoy, but XXx, The Return of Xander Cage really is not. This is a very boring, entertaining for the first 30 minutes, then boring, uninteresting, implausible, stupid film. Maybe you'll enjoy it, and that's completely fine, because it's 90 minutes long, so maybe I'm the only one that had issue, or I think it's an hour and 50 minutes. Maybe I'm the only one that found issues with the time, but for me, this film kept on going on, and it got more and more boring as it went on, because it lost interest. The first 30 minutes may have been fun, but as this film progressed, it got less and less fun, and more boring, and as it got more boring, it became harder and harder to watch. Now, of course, this film is full of its moronic, stupid things, such as two characters having a conversation in two different languages, or just other simple, very stupid things like that. I have a few examples of them that I'll mention throughout, but these are just, they happen so often that they sort of take you out of the movie. At times, it would be nice if maybe they just sort of let, space just breathe before they had another stupid moment and maybe have an okay moment. But they don't, and it's incredibly annoying. I know it's part of the dumb action movie genre to have weird, confusing, stupid things, but in this movie they go a little too far with it to the point that it's hard to enjoy. The plot, too, is also beyond implausible when there's constant plot holes, constant moronic things, and there's a certain thing that happened towards the end of the movie that's so dumb that I need to spoil it, which will be later in the review. But there's a certain thing that happens there that you're just like, that's completely implausible. And there are things like that throughout that are completely implausible, that just don't make any sense at all to the story. I understand, cheesy action movie, sure, but when the story is so implausible that it takes you out of the movie, it's no longer fun or enjoyable, it's just hard to watch. Vin Diesel, too, is not a good actor. In fact, none of the acting in this movie is good. It's over the top, or it's really, really dull, and either way it goes, it's bad. And especially Vin Diesel, he tries to deliver so many one-liners, and in fact, 80% of this dialogue in the script is one-liners. That's practically the entire thing. And after a while, that gets very repetitive when it seems like no one can actually deliver a one-liner without thinking, oh, I'm so cool for delivering a one-liner, or this is really boring. There is not a single one-liner that's memorable or worth anything. They're all awful and completely terrible. Also, whoever did this action needs to be fired, because this is honestly some of the worst action I've seen on screen. The editing and the camera angling and everything is so choppy and weird and strangely put together. It's not fun to watch, and it's not entertaining at all. In fact, it's very dull, actually. For the first few minutes, maybe it's fine, but as it goes on, it seems like there's no stakes because you hardly see a character die, because there's way too much editing between the shooting of a gun and to the person that just died. And you don't get any fun out of it because all you see are weird, just random cuts of random blurred things happening, and that's all it is, and it's incredibly annoying. And also, a lot of the action sequences feel like a dance scene. None of them feel real or authentic. All of them feel like they're choreographed and put together so meticulously that they don't even feel like action anymore. They just feel like people dancing around a room. And to complement that, they have incredibly annoying music. I'm fine with music that I don't like in movies. That's okay. But the music in this movie doesn't stop. It's there every 2 to 3 minutes, and it's completely annoying because it overshadows everything that's going on, and it honestly gives you a headache. A movie should not make you feel physically ill, and that's exactly what this film did, because I had such a roaring headache coming out of the theater. Maybe it's just because I've been sick over the past couple days, but I believe that it's because of how loud this music was blaring through the speakers. The action also has way too much slow motion, too much for its own good, and the music goes along with it, everything goes along with it, and it's just overused and annoying. And of course, this film has some very, very bad characters. One in particular was incredibly annoying. It was a character that right once they came on, they acted like Xander Cage was such a big deal, and whoever told Xander Cage could still be an action star really needs to, sort of tell him that he can't, because he was way too old for this role, and he did not fit in as the action hero type. But also, this one character was so annoying. She came on, she just couldn't stop talking about Xander Cage and how much she wanted to do things to him and all this kind of stuff. She was extremely objectified, and, well, no, she wasn't objectified like some of the other people in this movie, but still, she was completely annoying, and even though they try to make her this super smart person, she seems very dumb and moronic. And of course, there's a scene where she has a gun, and though she's never used a gun before, she shoots someone and is able to kill them, kill a person who's been using guns practically for their entire life, and then continues to shoot all these people, and then eventually drops the gun and it just shoots 2 people right next to her, which is implausible and annoying. Just like this entire movie, annoying and implausible. And another thing it is extremely sexist. It objectifies women to the extreme in this movie. Not a single woman is seen as a good person or a human. They are all completely flat, or they're objectified, and that's practically it. One of the women that is working with Xander Cage in this movie, sort of the boss, the leader, she was just completely one note and flat. She didn't have anything to do. A lot of her lines were terribly delivered. Every single woman, it feels like, is objectified in this movie. Every single one. There's 2 or 3 that maybe aren't, but at the same time, it definitely feels like they're not seen as human beings, but rather just characters for the story. And of course, they follow practically every action cliche in the book. Every single thing from, just think of an action cliche, and this film has it. It has so many just crazy, insane, annoying moments, such as Xander talking to somebody that he has no way to talk to because they're from way far away, or a person getting in a car crash and saying, 200 car crashes, and then taking a picture of it and cutting to an image that is put as a postcard. I understand that some of this stuff was intentionally funny, but other things are not intentionally funny, and in fact, the things that try to be hilarious are just annoying and random, like this entire movie. I hated The Return of Xander Cage. It is not a movie I can say that anyone should see, or anyone ever should even mention to another friend about seeing. It's an awful movie, extremely sexist, and extremely annoying, extremely loud, not fun to watch in any way, and that is why I will give this film a 2.5 out of 10. Not the worst film that came out this year. Bye Bye Man still has that, but goodness gracious, I thought for a while that this may just end up being the worst film that was released this year. Alright, that concludes my review for xXx The Return of Xander Cage. What are your thoughts on this film? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.